Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, thank you for attending this Monday classroom presentation from Shortcuts. Today is going to be a dense one using the point of sale. We are going to cover a lot of material, but I will give the attendees an additional minute to join us. It looks like I still see names popping up on the screen, so bear with us for just a moment. We're going to let the last minute attendees get connected. So, of course, you have a few seconds if you just want to get a cup of coffee or get a refresh on your cup of coffee, and be sure to take notes. Now, of course, like previous presentations, we are going to record this and we will be sharing it with you later on. So even if you join late, that's fine. We're recording everything and we will be sharing the link with you a little bit later today. So again, bear with us just a few more seconds. We're letting those last attendees join, and then we'll begin the presentation. The Shortcuts Monday classroom presentation using the point of sale. So give us just a few more moments. Okay, it looks like we have our attendees all joining us right now. So I'm going to go ahead and begin the presentation. So again, today's classroom presentation is using the point of sale. So whether you're new to Shortcuts or you've been using the system for a while, this is going to be a refresher to make sure that you're comfortable using the many features that we have in the actual point of sale. Now, similar to our other presentations, this webinar is going to be approximately 30 minutes. This might be a little bit longer, and we are going to allow some time for questions. My microphone is on, of course. Everybody is muted, but I will be taking questions, and you should have a little chat window on the right side where you can put in a message on the chat screen or on the question bar, and we will take a moment to look at those. Depending on where we're at in the presentation, I might answer the questions right in the middle of the presentation or at the very end. Oh, it looks like somebody already has a question. Will this be something I can download later? I can't get audio now. Just to let Eileen know, I'm going to type in the answer. Yes, we are recording this and I will be sending the link out later. Did anybody get that message? Hopefully, somebody. Oh, that's kind of curious. I'm typing text and it's not coming up on my keyboard. Just to make sure, the other people that are in attendance, you can hear me, right? Just a quick yes on the question. Let me know. All right, let me try to answer it again. Yes, we are recording, and I will send the link out later to the attendees. Okay, it looks like everybody else can hear me, so I'm sorry that Eileen can't get any audio right now. So let's go ahead and begin. So today's learning outcomes. We want to have a comprehensive look at the point of sale. Now, some salons, some spas, some barbershops run their point of sale a little bit differently. So I'm going to actually go through the at least what I prefer. That includes a start of day and end of day process. Some locations only do an end of day. We'll review how to check out customers, how to take care of walk-in clients, deal with retail, how to issue refunds. That's a question that the help desk gets a lot of the time, especially from people that are new to the system. If your salon or spa or barbershop has a series, how to sell the series, how to redeem it, and of course dealing with gift certificates and other sundry. And of course, tracking professional use products, not just the retail that you sell, but what does your staff actually use. So the point of sale screen. The screen itself is really divided into three rows. You have a top row, a middle row, and a bottom row. So the top row lets you choose customers. There's a little pull-down menu at the very top of the screen where you can choose new customers that have arrived, walk-in customers or retail customers, or even group customers. The middle of the screen shows you any services or products that the customers are adding to their ticket. And of course, at the very bottom, how the customer is paying and if they're going to qualify for any sort of discount or if you're going to record a tip. So the start of day process. Again, not every business actually performs a start of day. If your business does, the first thing you want to do before you even unlock your front doors is you're going to go to Shortcuts and you're going to go to the point of sale screen and the transactions button to begin the actual start of day. So on the top right corner, you'll press transaction, and at the bottom of the screen, you'll press start day. So this is the window where Shortcuts will just have you confirm how much money is actually in the register. For most locations, the amount is the same every day. Maybe you open with 100, 200, 300, and you're confirming that. Now, of course, on weekends, if you open with a little bit more in the register, this is the window you would go to update your float. So we want to be able to track cash. Now, this is even before we start bringing customers in and checking them out at the point of sale. After you perform a start of day, you want to make sure that you have the ability to count your money or to add money after the fact, after you perform your start of day. This is where the no sale comes into play. This button will allow you to open the register, count your money, make sure everything's there before you do your start of day. But after you do your start of day, if you go to the bank and you have to transfer some money in because you're starting to run low, this is where you tell Shortcuts, I'm going to transfer money in, so my float is being adjusted. And vice versa. If, for whatever reason, every customer decided to pay cash that day, and you are sitting with $2,000 over your usual float, then you can tell Shortcuts, okay, I'm going to transfer some cash out, and you would tell Shortcuts, I'm transferring out $1,500, $1,600, and that way Shortcuts will remember you took this money out before you did an end of day. So you want to be able to start your register, make sure the float is correct, and make your adjustments after the fact. The other way you do that is when you're dealing with petty cash. And again, it's a little bit different from business to business. Not everybody works with petty cash out of the register. For those that do, under the no sale button, you have the ability to take petty cash. And here's the thing you have to remember. Whether you or your staff members use some of the petty cash and there's change left over, or use all of the petty cash and there's no change left over, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you return petty cash. And that's under the same button, the no sale button. Everything that I'm showing you so far, I will actually do a live demo on. I just want to show you that there's a number of things, a number of ways to track the payments in Shortcuts, to track the cash that you have. The other way to track a sort of petty cash is with a business expense. So let's say on the way to the salon or on the way to your shop this morning, you actually went to the beauty supply to pick up some color, or to pick up some other supplies. So you took $20 out of your own pocket to pay for this item. And when you get in, you're going to be reimbursed from the register. So this is where you have the ability to go right to the point of sale. Go to your clients button on the top left corner and select hashtag expense. This way, Shortcuts knows, okay, you're going to take some money out of the register. This is going to adjust your float because you had to pay for an item. So like other transactions, you would still choose what the item was and press end sale. So with all of that in mind, before we even check out a customer, I'm actually going to go through everything and do a live demonstration on all of the things I just mentioned. So we'll pause on this slide for a moment, checking out a customer. That's going to be the very next thing. And we're going to go into Shortcuts. So again, the first thing you do every morning, if you're a business that does a start of day, you're going to go to the point of sale screen and on the top right corner, you're going to go to your transactions button. So this screen will eventually have every customer visit, every business expense, every petty cash that goes through. At the very bottom of the screen, the first thing we want to do is start our day. Now, my register, my test register here, always has $100 in it. So I'm just confirming my register still has $100. And again, I mentioned, if your business, let's say on the weekends, you go up to $200 or $300, this is where you would change your float and tell Shortcuts, okay, today I'm going to open with a little bit more money. Otherwise, you just confirm the amount that you have. So I will press done. And now Shortcuts knows, okay, I counted my money, I pressed done, and I'm ready to actually start checking customers in and out. On the bottom right corner, the no sale button. So this is where you would go to open the register in case I wanted to count the money before I confirmed it, or after the fact. Again, if I need to transfer additional funds in or take money out, I have the ability to transfer money in or transfer money out. And if I do a petty cash, I need to take some money and go to the store to buy something. At any point in the day, if your system is set up, because this is protected by security, you can give permission to only some people to do this. So in this case, I'm just going to take $20 out, and at some point during today's presentation, I need to return that change. At the very top of the screen. So I mentioned that the point of sale is divided into 3 rows. So the top row allows you to select customers and bring customers in from your clients list on the top left corner. If you literally have a walk-in customer, they don't want to give you their name or their number, then you can check them out directly from here. And if you have a customer that is only interested in purchasing a retail item, again, you're not going to ask them for their name or number. You can check them out as a retail customer. And from this window, you can also group customers. In the middle of the screen will be the services or products that our customers have purchased. And at the bottom are, of course, our payment types. So with this in mind, we're going to actually look at how to check out a client. Now that takes us back to the slide that we were on. So checking out a customer. So there's multiple ways to do this. If you're using the appointment book, then you can right-click an appointment and go to the checkout. If you're in the point of sale screen, any customer that has arrived is going to be available from that pull down. And of course, any customer that is a regular customer that happens to walk in, you can select their name directly in the point of sale. So once they're in the point of sale, you can update their transaction details, change the employee that actually performed the service, or add an additional service that the customer received, or add an additional product. So you have the ability to change this information and even update prices. Now, in some salons, in some barbershops, your prices are very much set. The employees shouldn't have the ability to do this. So this is protected by security. And of course, on the point of sale screen, you also have the ability to apply a discount. We'll talk about discounts in just a moment. So we're going to look at checking out customers, updating the employee, updating the price, and even adding an additional item in the point of sale, whether it's a service or a product. You want to make sure the correct people get credit for this, and whether the customer is receiving a product, a service, or a sundry. So we'll pause right here, and we'll actually do a live demonstration of checking customers out and even upselling services and products. So back to our shortcuts. So the first way, if you're using the appointment book screen, the easiest way to check a customer out is to right-click on an appointment, and I'm going to start with Rob here on my top left corner, and I'm going to check out. So Shortcuts shows me George did a hairline cleanup. Here's my total price. And if this service doesn't have a tax, here's my total. Now, let's say George didn't actually perform this service. This was accidentally assigned to George. On the left side, I can click on George's name and say, oh, actually Andy did the haircut this morning. It was accidentally put under George's column. So I can change that information. And then on the right side of the screen, when Andy does the service, technically he charges a little bit more, so I could change the price. Maybe it should be $17. So right away, you can start making some edits. Now, on the right, just to the right of the price, you notice how you have discount, and that column says $0. And at the very bottom of the screen, you have a button that says discount as well. Well, technically, these two do two different things. The reason you have a column that says discount is because you can assign a discount to just one item or one product. So if you're performing some sort of special this month and the promo is any product that you buy is going to be 10% off this week, then you want to tell Shortcuts only one item gets a discount. If I were to press the discount button at the bottom of the screen, then Shortcuts will try to apply the appropriate discount to everything. So adding an additional service or product right from the point of sale screen. To do that, you just click one of these blank rows in the middle of the screen. Now, if this was a product and you had a barcode scanner and you had recorded your barcodes in Shortcuts, then you don't even have to press any of these rows. As soon as you scan that item, Shortcuts will add that product into the screen. But in this case, I don't have my barcode scanner with me, so I'll manually select it. So I'll click a blank row, and Shortcuts will ask me, okay, what sort of upsell did this customer have? Was it a service, a product, or something else? And then who should get the credit for it? So let's go through that process. So I'll click the blank row. I'll say, even though Andy did the haircut, George was involved in this transaction. He upsold a couple of products. So I'll choose my product screen, and I'll go through a couple of items. So Defy, he got some styling products, some sculpting gel here. We'll go to Captain Faucet's, perhaps a little mustache wax. So once I choose my items, I can press done. So Andy gets credit for the haircut, but George gets credit for the upsell. And if the customer was going to receive some sort of discount on products only, then on the right side, I can choose the specific product. And then once I select that column, Shortcuts will ask me, what is the particular discount that applies to this? So perhaps it's a promo and it's a fixed amount, $10. So your particular business can actually create a list of discounts that apply only to specific things. So you can have a completely different line of discounts for services or for products. But in this case, it's $10 off the most expensive product. So once the customer has his services and products, on the bottom left corner, these are our payment type options. Now, your business may not necessarily have all of these options. For the majority of the locations, it's really just cash or credit card. Not every location uses checks or electronic cards. This would qualify as debit. On the next row, credit cards, gift certificates, and accounts. Now, if you have an integrated credit card machine with Shortcuts, Shortcuts will actually recognize what type of card the customer is using. Is it a credit? Is it a debit card? Does the customer want to apply a tip and put it on the card as well? So you don't necessarily have to press the tip button at the bottom of the screen unless you have a credit card machine that is not integrated with Shortcuts. In that scenario, the customer will write the total on the receipt, including their tip. Once you have it, then you'll decide, okay, I'm going to add manually a tip into Shortcuts. And this customer was really happy with the haircut they received. So sorry, George is not getting a tip for upselling products. Andy will. And Andy's getting $5 additional. So again, you really only press the tip button if your particular credit card machine is not integrated with Shortcuts. On the bottom left corner, I will press my credit card button. And again, I don't have an integrated machine, so I have to tell it this customer paid with a Visa. It will give me my total. I will press done. And in some scenarios, in some locations, Shortcuts will also ask you, would you like to book another appointment with this customer? In my particular business, I do not have that enabled because most customers make their appointments online. I don't have to ask them. So I will end the sale. Now, traditionally, this is where the register opens up and a receipt would print out. I also have Shortcuts enabled to warn me when I'm starting to run low on certain products. So I need to remember to order some new retail when I get a chance. So checking somebody out from the appointment book screen, it's very simple. You just right click and go to checkout. But something else that you can do, if a customer has been marked as arrived, if you happen to be in the point of sale screen, I can use this pull down menu and bring one of those customers right into the point of sale. And then let's say this customer was a cash transaction. The customer left the tip directly with the employee, so I don't have to record that. And I can just press end sale. So as long as the customer has been marked arrived, you can use this pull down menu. You can also use this pull down menu to just put in a walk-in customer. So Brad did a haircut. He did a service, haircut, an executive cut. This customer didn't want to leave their name or number, so I'm just checking them out directly from here. The customer paid cash, and that's an end sale. So it's very easy to do both customers that are walk-ins, customers that are buying retail only, and even grouping them directly in the point of sale. So I can take Steve and Dave and say this group is paying together. Each employee that performed that service, if I click that pull down menu, I can isolate just one of those names, either Dave or Steve. So Andy gets credit for doing one haircut and Matt gets credit for doing the other haircut. If one of these customers in the group decides they want to buy a product, then technically you don't sell a product to the group. We want Shortcuts to record this transaction into the history of the customer. So if Dave wanted to buy some shampoo, even in a group transaction, I'll choose just Dave's name. Matt upsold a product, and we'll go down to Gummy Premium Beard Shampoo. Now that he's updated the product, I'll go back to the group, and then one of them paid with a credit card, again a Visa. So when I press end sale, Shortcuts will record this transaction and each employee gets credit for what they're supposed to receive. Okay, I hope those steps make sense so far. I know I seem to be flying through it, but it's a lot of material that we have to cover. So back to the checkout screen. So we talked a moment about adding products, adding services, changing the information in the point of sale. So we can always add and replace products and services. And if you don't have a barcode scanner, when you press F3, that allows you to type in a keyword for that product and bring up the item. So we looked a little bit at our payment types: cash, check, credit card, gift certificate. So splitting the payment. Let's say the customer wants to pay part of their transaction in cash, part of it using a credit card. So how do you do that? It's very simple. In the point of sale, you press whichever payment type, and you tell Shortcuts what the total is, and then you press the second payment type, and again you confirm how much is going on to the second payment type. So let's actually do that. Let's do a split payment and let's see how that works. So in Shortcuts, the next customer that came in was Adam here. He's ready to check out. So Adam is going to buy a few products. Andy is going to get credit for an upsell. And in this case, a product, let's go with Johnny B, and he's going to get a few Johnny B items. So Adam here, he doesn't have, or he wants to split the payment, the $73 total. So he has $20 cash. So we'll press the cash button and we'll tell Shortcuts. The customer is giving us 20 in cash, and the difference is going onto his American Express card. So Shortcuts confirmed the difference should be $53. I'll press done, and I'll end the sale. And again, Shortcuts is warning me, I'm starting to run low on some products. I better order some soon. So splitting payments is entirely possible in Shortcuts. So we talked a moment ago about applying discounts. So again, just to remind you, use the discount column when only one service or one product should receive a discount. Use the discount button at the bottom of the screen if all of the line items should receive some sort of benefit. So tracking tips, paying out tips. So if you have an integrate or a not integrated credit card machine and we need to record the tip, we looked at it a moment ago, and this is traditionally how the employees get paid, directly from the register when the customer pays with a credit card. Grouping clients. We looked at this a moment ago. So the easiest way, I always advise to group customers, if you're using the appointment book or even the walk-in manager, make sure the customer has arrived or is in service. And then directly from the point of sale screen, use the pull-down menu and use hashtag group and tell Shortcuts by pressing the gray block to the left of their name which of these customers should be grouped together. How to modify a group. So once you have a group in Shortcuts and one of those customers had an add-on service or wants to buy a product, remember to choose their name from the pull-down list and modify what they were having to their ticket. So that's something I had done just a moment ago. Now there's other types of checkouts. So we can check out walk-in customers, we can check out retail-only customers, we can group customers by using that pull-down menu. So in any case, whether the customer is checking out from the appointment book, the walk-in manager, the point of sale screen, always make sure to credit the right employee. So you always want to make sure the right people get credit for these services. Now, what about dealing with refunds? So this depends on your particular business, on your particular policy. Does your business actually issue refunds, or are all sales final? Or in the case of a product being defective, would you just replace or exchange that product with a brand new bottle? So that depends on your business. So let's actually walk through the process. How to issue a refund. So in the point of sale. So we've already had a few transactions. And if I go to the point of sale and go to my transaction button, I can see all of the customers that have been in, who did a group checkout, who's gotten some products. So I'm going to go with the very first client. Rob had purchased a couple of items, and unfortunately one of the items he purchased was defective. The cap was broken or the foil had been tampered with. So he comes in and Rob says, "Oh, I noticed the cap was broken. Can I exchange this for a new bottle?" And we look at our shelves, and unfortunately that was the last new item we had in stock for that particular brand. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him a refund. So to issue a refund, Even if the customer had lost his receipt, or this was the very next morning where the customer realized there was a problem and he came back, from the point of sale screen, on the top left corner, you're going to go to the Clients button, and you're going to find that particular customer. So that customer was Rob Marley, and on the right side of the screen, I can go to his history. And again, even though he lost his receipt or he left it at home, I can take a look at the list of items and say, sure enough, he had some of that, that mustache. Nope, it was the DeFi sculpting gel, 75. So this is the one. And unfortunately, that was the last one, so I have to give him a refund. I will right-click that particular item and issue a refund. So Shortcuts is going to put Rob back in the point of sale screen. So I will press done and return to my point of sale. So I will press done again. And notice it says Rob Marley is getting a refund on this styling gel. In the middle of the screen, notice it says quantity, -1. So he is returning one particular bottle. George was the employee that originally did the sale, so it shows his name here. So on the right side, there's his total. At the bottom, I will press end sale. Now, when I end sale on this, Shortcuts will ask me, how is this customer getting his refund? If Rob had used his credit card and we had an integrated credit card machine, then Shortcuts will have the machine ask the client to insert the card or swipe the card. But in this case, I don't have an integrated credit card machine. I'm not going to put the money in his account. I'm going to tell him I'm going to give him cash back right from the register. But of course, Shortcuts also wants to track what's going to happen with this bottle he returned. Am I going to put it back on the shelf? Well, no, this is not an incorrect product. He didn't choose wrong. This was a defective item. So I need to keep it off my shelf. So I'm either going to return it to the manufacturer or discard it. Well, the manufacturer owes me a new bottle because they sent me one with a broken cap. In either case, this is going to update your inventory. So whether you sell or whether you do returns, Shortcuts wants to make sure you keep up to date with your inventory. I'll press done and Shortcuts will warn me, okay, you're still out one of these sculpting gels, make sure you get a new one. So I hope that makes sense. So for any customer, you can go to their history, you can right click, and you can issue a refund. So selling gift certificates, working with accounts. So some businesses do sell gift certificates. These can be listed under sundry or these can be listed under gift cards, where you choose what is the value that goes on this gift card. Working with accounts is very similar. If instead of selling gift cards, customers can actually deposit money with you, perhaps they're getting an extension service, and you require the customer to leave a $100 or $200 deposit, that money can go into their account instead. So in the point of sale screen, you can choose when you click a blank line item, if the customer is buying a gift card or leaving money in their account, how much is it worth? When you're using a gift card, when you press end sale, whether the customer gives you cash or uses their credit card to pay for that gift certificate or that gift card, Shortcuts will prompt you to enter some sort of tracking number. Whether this is a barcode or a random number that your local card company can make, this is where you would record it. So then, once you sell those gift certificates, how do you use them at the point of sale? Or how do you use the account? Whenever there's money in the gift card or the account, on the bottom left corner, on your alternate payment types, the little white paper with the foil stamp on it represents gift cards or gift certificates. You'll choose whether it was a gift certificate or a gift card. You can search for it and use that balance to pay for the service. If there's anything left over on the card, it will stay on the card until the entire amount has been used. Now, if it's not enough to cover the service, of course the customer has to pay the outstanding amount. Now, what about accounts? They work similarly. If a customer leaves money on the account, then you can press the briefcase button and tell Shortcuts how much money is the customer using from their account. Is it the entire amount or is it a portion of the amount? So if the customer was getting extensions and the minimum deposit was $100, I would type in and tell Shortcuts they are using all $100 of their deposit. And then once I do that, then Shortcuts will say, okay, now they have to pay the difference using a different payment type. Now, you can always use accounts to pay for services and leave deposits for services, but you can also use accounts in a different way. If you have regular customers, they come in once a week and you've known them for years, and unfortunately one day they forget their wallet, you can always check them out and say, okay, you're going to owe money into your account because I trust you and I know you've been here for years and you just left your wallet at home. You're going to pay me back tomorrow or next week. So it's a similar process. When they're checking out, instead of adding a line item, you're going to press the briefcase button on the bottom corner and tell Shortcuts, oh, they owe me $20, $50 for this visit. And whether you leave a deposit or owe money, this gets recorded into the customer's history. If they leave a deposit, there's going to be a little green ledger next to their name. If they owe you money, it's going to be a red ledger that lets you know how much they owe the business. So the last step, tracking back bar. So of course it's nice to be able to upsell services, upsell products, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're tracking any professional use products that your staff uses. It's very easy to do. At the point of sale, when you go to the Clients button, you're going to choose #business and you're going to record any products that your staff used that day. So before we get to the tips and our end of day, I'm actually going to show you them. So if this was getting to the end of my day, I need to check out any professional products that my staff use. So right from the point of sale screen, I would go to the Clients button on the top left corner. And if I search for the very top of the list, my first customer is business. So I'll choose business and press done. And now I choose business as the employee that gets credit for checking this out. So business is your customer, business is your employee. So I'll choose the items that my staff used. So we use some sculpting gel and that's it. And if you notice, Shortcut says the total is $0. You're not being charged again for these items. These are being taken out of your inventory. So we'll end sale, and Shortcuts reminds me I'm running low on these items. Okay, so we're able to track our customer, services, and products as well as our professional. Let's say we're nearing the end of the day. So one of the things we have to do is make sure there's no outstanding petty cash. So remember the first thing I did this morning was I went to no sale and I took some petty cash. Now I need to return my change. So I will return to the no sale button and I will return petty cash. And here's the amount that I took, the $20. Normally Shortcuts will have the name of the staff member. And Shortcuts wants to know, what did I buy? I bought some professional products with that money. How much did I spend? Did I spend all $20? No, I spent $14.50. Okay, so once I press done and end sale, Shortcuts will open the register and say, please deposit my change, $5.50, and deposit my receipt. So always make sure any petty cash that was taken is returned. Even if you use the entire amount, tell Shortcuts you used the entire amount so that there is no outstanding petty cash. Now, what about tips? In some cases, you pay the tips directly from the register as soon as the customer leaves it on the credit card. But let's say your business waits until the end of the day or the end of the shift, and then you give the staff their tips. If you'd like to see a total, you could run a tips report. And this is protected by security, so you can say perhaps only the receptionist can look at the tips report. So if I go to Tools, Reports, the particular report I'm mentioning is on the left side of the screen under the Employee category, and it's the Tips report. So if I'm about to close my register, I'll choose Tips, and I will view the tips, and I will view them just for today. So in this case, Andy was the only one that got a tip. It was $5. So I'll take $5 out of my register and I'll give it to Andy and I'll say, congratulations. All of my customers were very cheap today. So that's how you can look at your tip payouts for the day. Okay, so now let's actually finalize our day. So we're at the end of the day and we're ready to start closing the register. So what are the proper steps? So you want to make sure that you've adjusted any cash that went in or out. Usually tips is the number one thing. You also want to make sure that you've taken care of any professional products that the staff use. So first thing you did this morning is you went point of sale, transactions, and start of day. At the very end, you're just going to go to point of sale, transactions, and do an end of day. Shortcuts will confirm which register or which registers are you closing out. And then it will ask you to enter the cash or your credit card totals. If you have an integrated credit card machine, then chances are your credit card totals can automatically be populated. So Shortcuts will always confirm this is the correct register when you're counting your money, because once you start this process, you can't start jumping backwards and adding additional funds if you remember there was a bank transfer in the middle of the day. So it always warns you. Now, whether you're over or under, you do have the ability to adjust that amount. So every time you go to the previous screen or to the next screen, Shortcuts is recording this as an end of day. So whoever's responsible for this, Shortcuts will keep track of them. And if they just need to print receipts or look at their transaction history, they can do that as well, just to make sure that they're doing the correct steps. So let's actually do an actual end of day. So we'll go back to Shortcuts. I'm going to press my Transactions button, and I'm going to do my end of day. Shortcuts confirms this is my register. I started with $100 this morning. That is correct. Okay, please count my totals. Now on the right side, I have Shortcuts set to automatically enter my credit card totals. All I have to do is count my total cash. Now I'm going to make up this number, 125. I know this number is wrong, but I'll go on and continue, and I will confirm, yes, this is the amount from my register that I counted. I'm ready to continue. So Shortcuts will show me that it expected me to have 132.50 in my register, not 125. So I'm under a little bit. I could print my transactions, I could print my receipts again and just double check. Or I could just recount my cash and make sure that I got everything correctly. So I'll go to the previous screen and I'll recount my cash. So I go back and I count my cash, and sure enough, a couple of the bills were stuck together. Now, I actually end up having a little bit more cash than I thought. So I'm $6.50 over. Whether I'm over or whether I'm under, Shortcuts will not let me continue unless I have a valid reason. So at the bottom, whoever performs your end of day has to leave a comment. So in this case, it's an honest mistake. A customer actually left their change. They didn't leave it as a tip, they just literally put their cash on the table and they just walked out and forgot about it. So this is the reason, and let's continue. So on the next window, Shortcuts will show me if I want to keep $100 in my register for tomorrow, then on the bottom right corner, $39 is what I have to deposit. Now, if I was well over in cash, then in the bottom corner, Surecuts would say, okay, you need to deposit $300, $400. And if I was under, then Surecuts will ask, okay, you're under. You won't make $100 tomorrow, so you need to add this amount. So Surecuts will always help you balance your register. So we'll go to the next window, and that's actually the last window on our end of day wizard. Surecuts will show me the 3 most popular reports to run at the end of the day. Of these 3 reports, the trading summary is historically the most popular because this is a summary of everything that happened today. How many customers came in, how many services or products were sold, and how did the customers pay. But the other reports, the session till drawer balance, who was doing the end of day and how many times did they go forwards and backwards doing the count, or the business log, the complete A to Z on everybody that used Surecuts for that. Now, of course, as managers or owners, you can run these reports whenever you want. So I will press finish, and I will press done, and that's usually it. If I need to run reports, I can always go to Tools and Reports at a later date. And just so you know, there is an end of day category, and that end of day till drawer balance report is there, the session till drawer balance report is there, and the log is there. So let's go back. Now, like I said, this was going to be a very, very dense presentation, a little bit longer than most of you are used to. So just remember, perform a start of day if your business is set up for that, and at the end of the day, you really get your hand held and we just walk you through the process. Count your cash, put in your credit card totals, this is how much money you need to deposit, or this is how much money you need to add for your float for the next day. And of course, print any reports if you want to print any or have your staff printing at the end of the day. The big 3, session till, trading, or the log. So in summary, a very, very dense Monday classroom. Thankfully, we're recording this, so you should be able to review it later. You know how to do a start of day, how to check customers out, add retail, upsell products and services, how to issue a refund. Now, we didn't quite touch on gift certificates or accounts. We didn't spend too much time there or with series, but we will be doing a refresher on point of sale, and we'll try to find a little bit more time to include those details. But in case you need to know right now, we always have a video series available in our Learning Center on our Surecuts webpage. So just so you know, other webinars, the regular webinars we present, are available for sign up on our Surecuts webpage, surecuts.net/webinars. Any of our previous webinars are always available in our library, so you can just follow the link. And if time permits, we have time for questions, at least a few questions here. And you can always email us additional questions or visit us on Facebook and post any questions. So I'm opening up the floor for you. I know we're running a little bit long, but I'm checking on the right side of the screen on where the question or chat window is. If anybody has a question, let me know. And I'm taking a look there. I'm sure everybody's scribbling a bunch of notes right now. Or it might feel like information overload at this point. So I'm not getting any questions. Okay, if there aren't any questions, then we'll wrap up this presentation. And again, once this finishes converting, we will be sending out, somebody has a hand raise. Who has a hand raise? Victoria, did you have a question? Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback. Okay, So again, we will be doing a point of sale review again in the future. So we'll try to tack on any of the things we didn't get a chance to do. Series, accounts, and look a little bit closer at them. Thank you for attending. Let's see, Daniel has a quick question. Let's see, hold on just a moment. Let me get to your question, Daniel. Webinars on the website are backdated. What is the best means to sign up for the next? Okay. Oh, and how to undo payment types? Good question, Alex. Good question, Daniel. For the webinars, if you go to our Shortcuts webpage, you can sign up on our webinars page. So that should have a calendar for the upcoming webinars. And as for how to undo payment type for Alex, we'll just jump back quickly into Shortcuts. And this will be probably the last few moments here before the presentation ends. So in order to do that, I have to start my day all over again. So I'll do a start of day. I have $100 in the register. I'll put somebody into the point of sale. So we'll go, Carl is ready to check out. So in this case, I say Carl paid cash, and I do an end sale. And I realize there was a mistake. Carl did not pay cash. He paid with a credit card. So I would go to the transactions button. And this is protected by security. Not everybody has permission to do this. So I will choose that transaction. And when I choose it, on the bottom left corner, I can change how the customer paid. Now, I cannot change how much they paid, only how they paid. So what I would do is press the cash button and say, Carl gave me $0 in cash. As soon as I put in a 0, then Shortcuts opens up my other options. Okay, in that case, how did Carl pay? He paid with a credit card. There's my total. And when I make this adjustment, Shortcuts will actually ask, am I sure I want to update this? Because this is going against my name and my password in the log. So I'm responsible for changing this transaction. So it even shows you the adjustment. There was a reversal for cash and there was an amendment for Visa. So this is all being recorded. I hope that answers your question, Alex. Are there any other questions? I know we're running a little bit long now, but everything's been recorded, so you do get a chance to review this later. So we'll go back to the PowerPoint. So make sure to sign up for any of our upcoming presentations. And if you have any questions, go ahead and give us a call or send us an email if you think of anything after the fact regarding point of sale. Our line is always open. Thank you for attending. And of course, I look forward to seeing most of you again next week. Have a great day.